What's going on, everyone? MC Andrew Love back on your screen and your speakers one more time. And welcome to another edition of Let's Chat and Jam. In this episode, I speak with a brother out of Manhattan, New York City, baby. His name, David Serero. They call him the ambassador of the arts. Check out this interview we did right now. What's going on, everybody? MC Andrew Love back on your screen and your speakers one more time with another edition of Let's Chat and Jam. In this episode, I'm speaking with a dope brother. This brother's from everywhere. He's from New York City. He's from all the way out there in European land. He's everywhere. His name is David Serero. And this brother here is the ambassador of the arts. That's not what I said. That's what they said. So without further ado, award-winning David Serero.
Hello, my brother. How are you?
Good, man. How are you doing? What have you been up to?
I'm so honored to be with you again and so delighted. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your wonderful show. I'm a huge fan of you. So I'm really, really honored. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
No, I'm a huge fan of yours, man. You are the ambassador of the arts, man.
Oh, you're too kind. No.
You are the guy that's behind the scenes and in front of the camera. You do everything. There's nothing in entertainment that you have not tried to master yet. You do directing, you do producing, you do playwriting because you write your own scripts, and you also are the one that has to cast for your members of your play. So you're a casting director too. You do everything, man. There's nothing you have not accomplished in your career, and you're still achieving. And you keep getting awards after awards after awards, man. That's called hard work, sacrifice. That's what it is you do. And man, I'm a fan of yours, and I'm humbled to have known you, brother.
Oh, my brother. Well, thank you very much. I want you to write my eulogy. You know, if anytime something happens, like I want you to write exactly what you said, you know. No, you're way too kind, you know, but I always love to work and to try new things. And this last challenges of COVID brought me to try new things, and it's starting to pay off, and I'm so honored, really.
I can say maybe this COVID has been a blessing for a lot of artists in disguise, because it brought out our entrepreneurial bag. Like, okay, now that's not working. We got to do something different. And yeah, I'm digging the vibes, man. I found myself during this pandemic, and finding myself allowed me to find you guys. I found really dope and talented artists across the globe, not just here in America, but everywhere. I've been to Germany. I've been to England. I've been to Africa. And I'm planning on going to Saudi Arabia one day, online, of course. And I really enjoy what I'm doing, but I enjoy talking to people such as yourself who have all this talent. And you have a fan base too. Your fan base is huge. Every time I see you post something, people then put in the comments, oh, how they love your music, how they love your shows, they love your plays, they love everything you're doing, because you're doing.
I pay all these people to write these kind things, you know. It costs me a lot of money, but that's not true. No, but you're so sweet. You're very sweet.
Nah, I'm not just the sweet one. I'm just telling you what I see out here, man.
Man.
I'm a man about town, but I know talent when I see it a mile away. And you are one of the most talented brothers I've ever come across.
Oh, brother. Thank you, my man.
When did you realize?
Same for you.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. When did you realize you had a passion for the arts?
Well, it started with music when I was, I think, 8 or 9 years old, and I started to be on the piano. Actually, I have even pictures when I was like 4 or 5 on the piano. But from what I can remember, was really around 8, 9 years old that I started to play with piano. And actually, I didn't have a great childhood in the sense that I was always, all the kids didn't like me, always had a fight, and I was always alone, not talking to anybody, etc., etc. So I was when I would sit on the piano and press any keys and do some music, then I felt I was communicating with somebody. So that was for me, how that passion started originally, and then after step by step, the piano was for me my instrument, and I realized that I was not necessarily the best, but I was good to communicate when I was playing on the piano, because it's one thing, even when you're singing, to be a good singer, but can you communicate your singing? Can you communicate your emotions to the audience? These are two different things. Like a host is everything for almost every job, And then after singing started to come up a little bit by accident, then theater, then musicals, then Broadway, and then putting shows together right away, and then putting records. Everything started to be, I would say, a succession of I think, a natural line.
Okay, that's awesome, man. Now I want to dive into your show, The Culture News. Can you tell me, and I've always wanted to know this since I was a guest on there a few times, where did this come from, man? Why did you start that?
Well, it stayed on the idea that I wanted to talk to other artists and to promote the work also of other artists, because I never saw other artists as competitors. I saw them as, part of the family and part of being together and creating together. So there were some artists who were at the beginning performing in my productions for almost for free, and I was like, how can I help them out? And I, this is how it started. And then the other thing is I got this partnership with iHeartRadio also, where I was able to, they kindly agreed to host my show and interviewing people after the other. And then next thing I know, after I think 2 or 3 months, my email was on the database of all the PR that you can find in America, in the UK. So I started to be bombarded, like literally to this day. I think I receive about 500 demands per day, emails, press release, new artists, everything. And this being so really rewarding, because I met artists that I would have never heard of if they wouldn't have reached out for an interview or reach out that I play their music or and some of them became really close friends. Some of them actually hired me for the stuff. And what happened, by example, for one great artist, she's Grammy Award nominated, Malou Beauvoir. She originally, her PR team submitted her album to be on my show, and I really loved her album. It's like African music, but with the little popish stuff. It's really, she has her own color, her own style, and I loved it, and we kept in touch. And then one day I was doing Scarface, a new Broadway musical. I'm preparing now, just finished the cast album recording, and then I said, Malou, I need you in the recording. And she came to my place, to my studio, and we did a demo. And I was like, listen, I don't care what you say, I want you on that record. And so you see, maybe I wouldn't have heard about her, because how life is. We already busy doing our own stuff. So, but the information came to me, and then I really wanted her, and she's one of the greatest singer, most professional I have ever heard in my life, so that's one of the great benefits that came. And you meet amazing people like yourself, so I'm all for it.
Yeah, man, that's a really cool thing. And you say she's dope and she's one of the greatest singers you ever heard. That means a mountain of platinum to me because you are the ambassador of the arts. So you
Oh, my sweet.
know
No.
all good talent when you see it, man. That is awesome.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Who are your greatest influences?
Oh, I will say, so for the opera, I would tell you Placido Domingo. Then there are uh, so many artists. Today, there are so many. Back in the days, you would know Barry White, Michael Jackson. You would have only a handful of them because they were the ones that you were the most acquainted, that whose music would really cross the Atlantic when I was in Paris and I grew up in Paris. But now there are so many artists that come your way, so many independent artists. And even in, the genre have crossed so much, in a hip hop song, we can have an American hip hop song. You can have a verse in Spanish. You can have so many artists from different culture that I wouldn't have been able to hear if there wouldn't be that cross of genres. So it's really, really, there are so many. I cannot even tell you. But I get inspired by people's story, by people's success. By example, I just finished a documentary about Eli Tahari, fashion designer, and now the documentary is going through film festivals. And his story inspired me so much, that's one of the things where I'm like, I think I've done something great. You know what? I can achieve way more because he achieved way more. So these people always are like to you, wow, that's the kind of things that I want to look up to, for sure.
That's cool, man. We got a couple of songs that we're going to snippet for you, David Serero, from your EP, French Jazz Cover Pop Hits. That's what it's called.
Yeah. So what I did is there were a couple of pop hits like Say So by Doja Cat. I'm a huge fan of Doja Cat. And I was like, I love these songs, but if I sing a song of Doja Cat, people are going to run away, So I was like, I want to find some groove and everything. And I always there were always a lot of great pop songs that I was at home arranging and producing as a jazz standards and adapting them as a jazz standards. And somehow I had a good feeling of how to turn that song. So I was like, why not do a whole album about it? And when I released Say So, people really, really liked it. And I got a really amazing feedback.
Okay. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to tap into some of these songs. We're going to play a snippet, folks. And folks, you can go on to all these platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. Check out some of his videos. YouTube Music, Pandora, and my favorite spot, iHeartRadio. And check out David Serero. Because I'm telling you something, folks, his music, man, your music is amazing.
You're sweet.
Thing I like about your music, it's enjoyable to everybody. Even if you don't speak his language, his native tongue, it doesn't matter. You can actually enjoy the French. The French is like the language of love. And so when you interpret an American song into French, oh man.
It's like a new discovery,
It gets hot in the room.
Yeah, but it's all my life I was fascinated by the American accent, American singing, and all of that. And it's funny now. I think I've sang it so much in English that now I feel weird, unless it's like a Broadway musical, unless it's theatrical, But just singing a pop song now for me is weird, unless it's a jazz standard like My Way or New York, because it's very theatrical. But now for the pop, I love to sing in French. it's my native language. And like, by example, when you look at an artist like Luis Miguel, who I really, really love, he sings in Spanish, and he's very successful in his own language. And what he managed to do is absolutely wonderful. That's the kind of stuff I want to do with my own language.
Yeah. But so far, folks, this is what we're going to do. We're going to play a snippet of this, folks. This song here is called Say So. It's David Serero, y'all. This is nice. Very, very comforting.
Yeah. But I also was thinking of doing like a French Barry White kind of stuff, you know, where you're talking during the music. So that's one of the stuff I wanted to do. Like a French Barry White is with the jazz background is something sexy, I think.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, jazz is a type of music that is never going to die.
Oh,
and
for sure.
The thing about with jazz, especially for musicians, is like, you know, you just play what comes to your mind. Play what comes to your heart. You know, as long as it sounds good. But,
yeah.
You know, that's the beauty of jazz. Oh, so we're going to stay.
It's free.
Yeah. So tell us about the song. You know what? I don't need
to donner.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So to donner, actually, it's not a US pop song. It's a French pop song. And it was written and released by Maître Gims. You know, so he has a big career in the US. He's very well known in the US and all over the world. He's a big, big star. And he did that song a very, very, you know, almost like reggaeton almost. And I put it with the very jazz with saxophone. And actually, I shot the music video of that song in Miami. And I still haven't released it yet, but hopefully in the coming weeks I'm going to release it. But it was like very, you know, we shot it with a woman who, I mean, it was really, really beautiful, really.
I saw you in Miami. I saw you on Instagram with your videos and your lives from Miami shooting this video. I saw it on TV.
You saw some of it. Yeah, actually, on my Instagram, you can see when the woman comes around me with the watch and everything. It was very, you can see actually a shot of it. It came out perfectly.
I'm looking forward to when you release it for everyone to see, because I'm going to tap in. Are you going to put it on your YouTube channel?
Yep, absolutely. It will be on Vivo also.
Oh, okay. Vivo David Serero. So folks, you got to tap in, man. You got to go to YouTube. You got to check out David Serero. You got to check out his plays. You got to check out his musicals, especially the one Thriller. Oh, my God. David Serero, that one was amazing. And how you interpreted Thriller, man.
No, it was a good. I won the Palm Beach Music Award. I won Best Arranger and Producer for that song.
Wow!
Because it was really, really something new to do a thriller like this with a big band, with all of that. But it worked perfectly. And I did also Beyonce, Crazy in Love. Also that I rearranged with the jazz style, and that's really something I really love, you know.
I'm telling you something, man. Rod Temperton and Michael Jackson would have been proud when they heard that song.
Oh, my man.
They would have been they would have been like over the moon, elated. And Michael Jackson probably would have said, "Hey, let me get in the background of that if you don't mind." Man.
Oh man, I will do a whole album just for that. But his brother told me that basically he was prepping. He tried to do a jazz album with jazz arrangements, something, and he did some demos of it, but they don't know where they are. He recorded it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, if we could just get those demos, and then they brought them over to your studio.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
I will do something hot with it.
Oh, I know you would. All right, so let's get on to that second song, folks.
Yeah.
It's David Serero, y'all. Come on. Gotta tap in. Going over to all platforms. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Deezer. The list goes on and on. Wherever is streaming going on, David Serero is in the middle of it. And so
you're sweet.
Here we go with The Shape of You. Can you tell us about that?
Well, Shape of You is that famous song by Ed Sheeran. And I thought he has some jazz feel with it, you know. And I rearranged it, and it turned out to be actually quite good, you know.
Yeah, it turned out to be
in French on top of that.
Oh, French is awesome, man. I think that's the language of love, as I said earlier.
Yeah.
Love every moment of you. And I love how you come underneath yourself. So like when you're out there and you're doing those big notes, then you come in smoothly underneath yourself.
That's something I learned really on how to do very recently, because I was so much judged on singing, like very loud and everything. And I learned how to masterize, even though, of course, I have a lot of progress to do all the time, but how to do harmonies and how to do, this little voice that will come around, as a background vocals to kind of sustain my own loud lead voice,
Definitely, man. So here is David Serero in progress, snippet of it, folks. Shape of You.
My man.
It's David Serero, y'all. Come on. Woo! Yo, this is really nice. I like it. And you can actually hear all of these tracks on the Let's Chat and Jam Spotify playlist, folks. Yes, Let's Chat and Jam on Spotify playlist. You can hear all three of those tracks right there from David Serero. And also tap in, because the top 15 songs on the playlist get to be on the Shiznit list on Instagram for Let's Chat and Jam. So make sure you guys tap in. Tell us some of your experiences you've had since you've been making music.
Well, I'm that's the good thing I had, is that I was able to be so eclectic into so many different styles and go from rock to pop to jazz to R&B, to writing my own material, to opera, to classical and world music also. So it's so eclectic, and I realized that the more you can play, the richer is your music. That's one thing I definitely realized.
You're right. And the more you play, the better you get. And I have so much faith in you, man. You're getting better and better every time you release another track. And of course, your musicals, man, they are just amazing. Just your rearrangements, it showcases your creativity as an artist, because you are an artist. But instead of painting with paint, you paint with words, and you paint with sound, and you play with sound, because jazz is the format which gives you that freedom to do so. Like, because certain genres, like let's say R&B or hip hop, those basically you gotta, people want to hear certain things, rock and roll, certain elements. But with jazz, you can play with the music, you can play with the sounds, you can be free to do so. And that's what makes your stuff so amazing and so relatable. People can listen to your music, comprehend what you're saying, because what you say has substance, it has meaning. And every song that you pick, like let's say you want to do a cover song and you just want to change it up a little bit to give it that David Serero touch, then what happens is you take those words and you have meaning behind it. You don't do any song that you like, oh, that's just not for me. No, that song, you have to be feeling it. And you felt that song from Ed Sheeran's Shape of You. You felt it. And you're like, I can do a jazz version of it. And you did, man. And you did. And French at that. Oh, my God, David Serero. You are freaking amazing, dude.
Thank you, brother.
Do you have any advice for the youngins that are coming up that want to do what you're doing?
Well, start by doing it. Everything you have. I realized a lot of the new guys, they want to do like I wanted to do before, but thank God I was not able to do. Is that today you can basically, with your own even cell phone, you can record something and right away release it, right away put it on Spotify and sell it. And people believe that the more they release, the more they do stuff, the more something will happen. I release a lot of stuff, but I do 10 times more, but I only release about 10% that I do, because the rest I'm like, it's not strong enough. And sometimes I wait 2-3 years before I take an old project and I kind of reshape it a little bit, and sometimes there are stuff that I did 5-6 years ago and I'm like, oh, it's so outdated now, let me remove it. So I will say, do stuff, but don't necessarily release it. But imagine you release it, but create more stuff and improve. You say, okay, I did that, now I want to do that, then I want to do that, so that there is a growth. That's very important, is to see growth.
You got a point, man. There's a lot of new artists that are coming up, including myself, folks, that we get excited because we recorded something and we think it sounds amazing, of course. And then we decided we're going to release it for the world to hear. And then the world hears it and it falls on crickets. See, nobody knows us, folks. So before we even release songs, we have to build a buzz about ourselves. We have to do promotion about our own music before we even drop any singles. And I think collaborations are great,
You're absolutely right, because you have at the beginning to pass the level of I would say, the excitement of releasing something. At the beginning, you're like, oh my God, release it. It's so good. It's so good. So what I do usually is I release it on SoundCloud, but as a private link. So I'm like, oh, it's released, and then a month later, I listen to it and I'm like, oh, wait, that is wrong. That I can do better. That I can do better. And then I edit it and try to make it better. So we pass, there's a friend of mine once told me, I was like, no, I have to release it quickly. And a friend of mine said, David, it's not like you have 1,000 people down your house waiting for a new song of yours. He said, relax, people are busy with something else. So now really, I don't want to do just for the sake of doing. If I do, is really something, because it takes so much of me now. It takes so much of my health, so much of really a piece of me. Really, when I do the album Scarface, I put so much work into it. Like, it took me years to do it. Like, if you hear the arrangements, the brass, the drums, there's even the cymbal. I could spend a week for the cymbal. How to, is it psh, or the psh, or just psh, you have so many different ways of a cymbal. Or maybe the cymbal is too bright. Oh wait, I listen to it now on another computer and it sounds different. So let me find something that sounds even everywhere. So it takes so much of you that when I do something, I really want to do something good. But about the promotion and everything, one thing I realized is that when you have a good idea, it doesn't need to be, it gets promoted on its own, because the idea is so good that people will be like, oh, it's great. But before, I used to do so many, even more stuff, but nothing was really like amazing. And I'm not saying that what I do is more amazing now, but before. And then I would spend a fortune on trying to promote it, put all my savings to even myself to go with poster in the streets, and to have 5 people in the audience, So now I realize that if you have a good concept, if you have a good formula, everybody have their own formula that includes where you're from, what you know, what you do, your own approach, your age, your looks, your heritage, your musical heritage, and all this stuff makes a formula like plus, minus, times 2 divided by 4, whatever. That result is you. Even if, some people think that, that minus is a disadvantage, it wouldn't be you at the end. When I look, by example, at Eli Tahari was in a refugee camp. He moved to America with less than $100. He slept on the benches. I don't think he would worth today $500 million if he wouldn't have stayed on the bench. Because when you stay on the bench, you're like, man, I have to make it happen. Not in 1 week, not in a year. It's like now, how am I going to do to eat the next meal? You know what I mean? So you have a different, I would say, a different urgency that you wouldn't have if you are from the 9 to 5 thing. So I would say everybody have their own formula, and the best advice is find your own formula, because I went so much around to finally come back to who I really am, but it takes time until I have proven that I can do everything. Then now I can be myself.
I'm digging the vibes, man, because I found this app called Loom, LUM.FM. Yeah, and I posted my music on there, and some of the songs I posted on there you can't find anywhere else, only on that platform. And I did that because I wanted to see what people thought. Because Loom, you could post whatever you want to post on there, take it down, put it back, take it down, put it back, and also re-edit it, put another song in its place, a better version of the song you made. It's amazing, man, what Loom can do for you. And people on Loom, like people that are your fans, they can support you by gifting you Loom notes. Each 200 Loom notes is equivalent to $1. So if you got your fan base to check out Loom and download the app and say, hey, check out my music on Loom. And if you want, you could also gift me and support my career. And, people love to support their favorite artists. They love to do that. That's what they're there for. That's why they're called fans or fanatics. They love the artist that they're following. And once they get a personal connection with you, that's when they really start to take off and things really start to happen. Like they'll buy your tickets, they'll buy your merchandise, they'll buy your records. Instead of going to stream it on Spotify, they'll buy it on iTunes. They'll buy it on Google, but there's no Google Play anymore. But when there was, you could buy music off of Google Play. And I'll tell you something, folks. David Serero, you have a fan base that loves the shiznit out of you because you're doing
sweet.
So many good things for the people. Because you are a people man. You're an entertainer.
Thank you.
An all-around artist. It's amazing what you do. Do you have any burning desires?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, to continue what I do, because we are in a society that anything can happen to you. Like even your close entourage can turn against you. Even your people you thought were your friend can turn against you, and someone could take a phrase out of context, and try to basically to kill you on the public place. So I want to continue, and nothing will stop me. I always say I was born uncancelable. With the cancel culture. So I was born uncancelable. So I was already canceled before I was born. So I cannot be canceled again, So I want to continue as long as possible. And now I'm in a place where I've done what I wanted to do. It was for me to be on stage was already like going to the moon, So for me, I've been on stage. I'm happy. I've done some great things. My shows were able to benefit a lot of artists and benefit a lot of, I think, also audience member who had a good time, the time of an evening, and also to benefit also nonprofits and people who cannot afford an evening at the theater, and I support orphanage. I support villages of whether it's kids or women who had unfortunate things. I'm not going to talk about the ugly stuff that can happen, unfortunately, but the bad things. So, and medical research and all of that. So at the end of the day, it's all amazing. But my burning desire now, to be honest with you, is to go to Paris to see my father, because I haven't seen him since COVID. It's been a year and a half. So that's my biggest burning desire. But the frontiers, the customs are closed between Europe and the US. So I hope they will reopen, but I understand why they're closed also, it makes sense, So that's the only way to get out of it, to get out of this COVID, So, and the next burning desire is coming, next opportunity. There is one of the biggest French musical of all time, one of the most successful ever, that I decided to adapt in English, and I had to work very hard, and we recorded it, and now I'm recording the vocals. I cannot tell you which one yet, but I will tell you after once we stop the recording. But I'm recording now the vocals of that musical, and that would be something huge. Like, people are going to talk about it. It's huge. And so, yeah, it's to continue. And that starts one relationship on that musical, now leads to another one. And now another big French success. They want me to adapt it for Broadway. So it's all that spin. And I hope that spin will continue, and that I would always have the desire and the courage to do new entrepreneurship in that very challenging industry, and most important, to have the health to do it, because with COVID, we saw that how much health is so important, and how much, boom, like this, we can die out of nothing. You can stop breathing, and, so I want to continue as much as possible, so that's my biggest burning desire. And peace among people, for God's sake. I started to see people created communities, and our communities started to separate themselves, and among the communities, people started to create their own communities. So instead of all being one, so I hope people will come more as one, instead of, oh, I'm part of that community, I'm part of that community. So I always say our differences is our chance to be together.
You're right. I look at it, I think I look at it this way. We're all from the same energy source. Just because we're all looking different as human beings doesn't mean we're not all related, because we all come from the same source, which most people would call God. We all come from the one, the ultimate creator. And he sent out from himself. He broke himself off and put us all out there so we can learn lessons and get back to him. And of course, if you can't get back to him, it's because you haven't learned your lessons. All I know is this: America and the world. It is I, MC Andrew Love. This is Let's Chat and Jam, and this is my special guest, David Serero. This brother here is one of the most talented and gifted artists I have ever met in my lifetime.
Oh, you're the sweetest.
This brother
You
here,
are too. You are too, brother.
Well, I appreciate it, man. This brother here He is a playwright. He is a songwriter. He is a singer. He is an actor. He is, but you know what? He does everything. I mean, there's so many things he does do that it would take me a lifetime to list all his resume accolades. This brother here is an award-winning artist. This brother here is one of the amazing persons, and he has his own show, Culture News, which you can tune in on iHeartRadio and Spotify. And I'll tell you something, he brings out these guests and he sees the best in them. He asks them these hard-hitting questions that make these artists look bigger and better than they would have if they didn't come to his show.
Oh, well, same for you. I have to learn from you. You do it better.
You did it first, and I think I'm learned from you, my brother.
Oh, my man.
Yes. So can you tell the folks where they can find you?
Well, on Instagram, David Serero, on Facebook, David Serero, or my official page, David Serero Opera, and on YouTube, and my music is on Spotify, is on Apple Music, is on all the platforms. And I have some theatrical shows that are actually on Amazon Prime Video. So feel free to check them out. So these shows were kind of filmed originally for archival purposes, but with Amazon, we decided to release them, and very excited. They're part of my growth, they're part of my history. Of course, today I do much better, but they're very interesting because they're part of my, I would say, history in a way,
I'm definitely going to tap in now that I know.
Thank you, brother.
Prime Video. I'm going to tune in. Since you've been here for the first time, you have now become part of the Let's Chat and Jam fan, which means you don't have to wait for me to contact you and say, hey, David Serero, come to my show. Nah, you can tap into me on my DMs and say, hey, Drew, I have a new project and I would like to talk about it on your show. And then, of course, I will get my calendar out. I will dig it up and I will look for a date and I will say, deal, you are now on the show. That's part of the perks of being part of the Let's Chat and Jam fam. So I want to say thank you for coming into the show.
Thank you, my brother.
Yes, man. I do appreciate your time. I appreciate everything you do. You are one of the most amazing persons I've ever met. And people, you need to tap into David Serero because he's one of the best. And I mean every word I say.
My man.
So you stay safe. Are you in Manhattan right now?
Yes, brother.
Well, you stay safe in Manhattan. And everybody else, you guys stay safe. And just remember, if you have a dream, go for it. Because nothing can stop you but yourself. And nothing beats a failure but a try. Peace out, folks. Thanks for watching. And if you like what you saw, please subscribe to the channel. Also, like and share the content, as well as hit the notification icon so you don't miss A Conversation with series right here on Let's Chat and Jam.